What's good, my guys? It's your boy Mitch with Mitch Hunts, coming at you with a banger, showing you a couple of really good recipes that I like to use for some of my game meat. If you guys have successful waterfowl seasons, you end up with a lot of duck, Canada goose breasts in the freezer by the end of the year, and this is one really good way to consolidate some of those down. So towards the end of season, I ended up shooting a limit of redheads. It was beautiful. Here's a pic of that pile right now, but nonetheless, I'm gonna go ahead and grind this meat down. I'm gonna show you guys how to make jerky and what ingredients kind of go into that so that you have a couple more preparations. This one's been really successful for me in the fact that I've had people that don't necessarily like game meat or haven't tried it before tell me that this is their favorite jerky when I did a preparation of it with goose, and consistently throughout the year asking me for more. So honestly, it's one that's really paid dividends for me and has definitely upped the amount of wild game that I'm able to process. So just to kind of set the stage for what you might need to do something like this, I went ahead and found a meat grinder. This one's actually really useful. You can do a whole lot of things like making sausages, this, that, and the other. I found that on Amazon for about $70. So I'll put a link for that in the description. Also got a meat dehydrator. It works for fruit and a couple of other preparations as well. I think that was about the same price, about $50, $60 on Amazon, next day delivery, so that was beautiful. We have a local agriculture and sporting store named Jack's here. They have a lot of different preparations for the jerky seasonings. I'm going to be going with a habanero jerky. I'm also going to mix in some garlic powder, which is just dried and shaved garlic, as well as some Mrs. Dash extra spicy just for some extra kick. That being said, feel free to add your personal flair, and honestly, you could probably just do a standalone jerky seasoning like this and be okay. Like I said, I've just gotten really good reviews when I add my own little flair to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cut down for you guys, and we'll get started on making this jerky. Alright guys, so the first step of this process, if you've frozen your meat, is going to be to thaw that out. The best method for that is going to be just to put it in a bowl under a light drip of cold water. Cold water is going to prevent the outside of that meat from cooking and make sure that you're safe in what you're doing. That being said, I went ahead and did that earlier in the video. So what we've got to work with right now is these breasts here. There's 10 of them. I ended up getting 5 birds. I'd shot one, but it sailed over the fence to private. I didn't feel comfortable shooting anymore after that, and I would have had opportunities. It was a crazy hunt, I'm not gonna lie to you. Nonetheless, what you're gonna start with is, with these just a little bit cold yet, we're gonna cut them down into about 1-inch slices. And it'll go through the grinder just a little bit easier if you leave it, like I said, a touch frosty. Doesn't have to be frozen by any means, but it'll just prevent it from gunking up in there. Give you some cleaner little pieces to work with as well. Now, usually if I was cooking the meat on its own, I would get rid of some of the silver skin. However, you do want a little bit of fat content in your jerky when you're making it, just so it doesn't get too dry on you. So we're going to leave it on so we don't have to add something like a bacon or something that's a little fattier to cut it with. Like I said, the seasonings will kind of take away that gamey taste as well. And you can give it to people that don't even particularly like game meat and end up getting a good result. So. Alrighty, so that'll do that. The next thing that we're gonna do here, make sure we've got all our seasoning as well as our curing salt ready. This is going to be one of the major components. You want to add at least a little bit will do it for you. And then our garlic powder. So we're gonna go ahead and use our grinder here. You don't want to load it too full. All right, so that's about as close as we're gonna get. You go ahead and get the rest of this off of the end of the extraction bit here. And then what I'll usually do is take this cap off, pull the blade, as well as the guard. And just make sure that we're getting everything out of there. Like I said, you don't want to waste this. As much work as we put into getting these birds, you want to make sure you're getting everything out of it. All right, looks like we're pretty good in there. I don't know if you guys can see in that. Pretty good and clean. So this will be your finished product. So what we're going to do with this now is add in our seasoning and everything that we're going to want to use on it. So the first thing is going to be our curing salt. Like I said, you don't need much of this. You can find it at most sporting goods stores. As I'd mentioned, I went to Jack's for mine. So just go in there, get a little teaspoon. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon, so I'm going to do 4. Honestly, I'm going pretty heavy on it. This isn't a ton of meat, but safe than sorry. There's that. That's sealed up and put back away. Next thing is going to be our Jack's seasoning mix. Now, they recommend using a full packet for 5 pounds of meat. We're using, this is probably closer to 1 or 2 pounds here. So we'll just make sure that we're being pretty conservative on what we use. Use the rest of this one. This is probably a 1/6 or a 1/7 of a bag. Just dump that one in. Then we'll grab another one. These folks went to some new packaging, it would appear. I see. All right. Not too much out of that one. So that should be good there. And then we're going to add our little pizzazz. So this is going to give it more of a garlic flavor. So it's going to be more of a garlic habanero, very spicy garlic. And then we'll go extra spicy with the Mrs. Dash. Not too much, but not too little. So that should be good. We'll mix that up now. It's really moist, obviously, but nonetheless, just mix that up. Get it in there as well as you can. It might take on a slightly different color, but you want it to absorb all of those flavors. You want to get that curing salt mixed in there pretty good as well. Mixing that up, make sure you're getting all the dry deposits out of the corners. Okay. Now, this is going to be a little bit more DIY. I just personally, the one investment that I haven't made, or I haven't found one at the price point I want, is a jerky gun. But this might be a little bit helpful to some of you that maybe want to make jerky and don't have the equipment yet, because you can actually do this same recipe by using the oven as opposed to having the dehydrator and all that fun stuff. So go ahead and get this wiped down. What I'm going to do now is grab a couple of Ziploc sandwich bags. A couple of Ziploc sandwich bags like this. Put these remnants of duck inside of this bag. Let's see if I can't scrape out just a touch more here. It's as good as it's going to get for now. Okay, so there's our first. And our second. So then take that first bag, see if you can't fit it in bag number 2 there. Now you've got basically a nice double layered Ziploc bag. Now, what I'm doing here is basically making like a piping bag like you would for you know, using icing on cakes or cupcakes, anything like that. It's just a homemade version or rendition of that. So what you'll do is you'll find a good corner, make sure that you have both of your bags, and it's just going to add a little bit of durability and strength. So you're squeezing it out and it's not going to completely ruin your bags here. Alright, so that should be pretty good. Now what we'll do is we'll get our trays. I'm going to go check and make sure that we're putting these in the right way. And then we're just going to layer these with our jerky mix. Now I like to do smaller, kind of single bite-ish. Make sure that you've got a little bit of air that can escape from there. Go ahead and close the bag about 90%. Then just like that, you'll get a little stick of jerky there. Flatten her out. Straighten it out if you need to. You just keep on laying those down. Make sure that they're pretty good and stuck together, that way they cook evenly. There's definitely prettier ways to go about it, but like I said, man, necessity breeds ingenuity. So just keep on dropping these. Beautiful. And it doesn't matter if you get them kind of into the mesh here, because it's going to end up hardening and you'll be able to peel it off pretty easy. So all right, so we'll start there. More hearty pieces of snack jerky, good source of protein, should taste pretty damn good as well. All right. So next thing here, go out to the Dehydrator. This is the model that I ended up grabbing. Get it plugged in. I guess we're not charging motors right now. Should just kick right on. There she goes. Okay, so always going to do 160. Meats and fish, it's listed on there. Jerky as well. Just put your trays inside of the Dehydrator. Now, depending on the size, how much you're doing, what kind of meat, average time is going to be about 4 to 6 hours, maybe a little bit longer if you're doing a really large batch. That's that. So pretty quick and simple way to get that done. Got everything. We just need to do a little bit of cleanup in the kitchen. As far as the dehydrator goes, it's generally going to be about 4 to 6 hours on that. So I'm going to set a timer on my phone, go to the gym, do a couple other things around the house, and then we'll go ahead and get that taken care of. But nonetheless, it's sitting in here. 160 is the temperature, so if you decide to do it in the oven, that's about the same. This preparation's just always been really good for me as far as... Oh, and it's already got the garage smelling delicious. That being said, if you guys are at all curious about how or where I'm harvesting these birds, maybe want to see some of these videos with them going down in action, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be doing a ton of walk-in public land DIY hunts this year. I went and scouted in Nebraska. I think I found 40 properties, and I was able to convert on pheasants, Canada geese, ducks. So we're gonna have a big year as far as multi-state hunting goes. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Hit that sub button and we'll take you on the journey. But like I said, I'll give you an update here in a few hours when that jerky's a little bit closer to finished. Thank you for checking out the video. All right, guys, we've had the jerky in the dehydrator for about 5.5 hours. We're gonna go give it a quick look. Really good telltale sign when you know it might be done is if the jerky is not bending, but it's breaking when you bend it a little bit. So we'll grab one of these pieces, see how she's going. So yeah, it's just a clean snap. Honestly, that's about where I would have the jerky or where I'd ended up. So we'll go ahead and unplug the dehydrator. Bring these trays inside. Now the last part of this is hands down going to be the easiest. All you got to do is bag this up, label it if you care to, and enjoy. And then here's really what your finished product's gonna look like. You got the marks from the dehydrator, makes it look really legit. Looks pretty damn good, I'm not gonna lie to you. Just grab a second bag. All right, friends, that's gonna do it for today. We ended up getting all of that done and processed. It took about 30 minutes prep time as far as grinding it down and putting it on the racks. Then we waited about 5.5 hours. One thing I will mention is I've used this exact same recipe on venison as well as elk and Canada geese, and it turns out phenomenal with any of those preparations. Don't be scared to use a different kind of a meat. Even beef would be good with this. That being said, just one that I really like doing to prepare up my wild game birds. Thank you guys for watching, much appreciation. If you can do me a small favor, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, we'll get you some more. All I got left is a little taste test. Okay, we're out here, boys. Okay, thanks again for watching. You guys have a great rest of your week, and I will see you soon.